really wish I could play the piano. Uh, it's such beautiful music, but unfortunately, I still need to learn. My daughter, I'm hoping that she will come. She's an expert in piano, so I'm hoping she will come and we can have a good time listening to good music on the piano. I'm not sure how many people that is live, but in the meantime, we will continue to just give us a minute or two and we will start the discussion on training. Today, we're going to focus on training. It's so critical for the development of our industry. So we will take some time and really look at training. So in a minute or two, we'll jump all into it. So we can really discuss training. So welcome to Steve Andrews and Associate, Soothing Touch at the Bamboo Retreat. Steve Andrews and Associate is really a concept that we have created to really help to develop the concept of massage and spa therapy. I keep focusing so much on massage. It's my first love, but the whole aspect of spas and the concept of spas, so we can focus on that. So time will go, more we build our community, more we will go together. Soothing Touch at the Bamboo Retreat is a concept that I have developed here in Barbados. It's a beautiful Caribbean spa, nice oasis, and we are in Walker St. George in Barbados, actually in the middle of the island. If you come to Barbados, come and visit us. Also, we have a bamboo spa on the beach. We call it Rockley Beach. So if you ever come to Barbados, just give us a shout. And for the ones that is here listening to us, if you don't know where to find us, then soothingtouchspa.com, or you can go to Soothing Touch Spa. Steve Andrews and Associate is steveandrewsassociate.com. You can go to our website and see what we're doing. If you want to be a member, also you can join us up. So that's what's housekeeping. Basically housekeeping today. Today we're going to be focusing on training, and to me the most critical component of what we do is what I call quality training. I watch, well, lately since the pandemic I was watching a lot of internet, YouTube, Facebook. Lots of people like hit me up, or I liken up a lots of person, because I want to be in the news, in the happenings, what is happening around the world. And I realized that there's a movement, a good movement that I really saw that they're doing a lots of creative concept. They call it world champion massage concept. I'm not one to bash concept, because I believe that every concept can have good and also it can have bad in it. So really and truly, I'm not one to really bash concept. But we have to be careful with concept, because sometimes we can go away and we can find ourselves just going into the wrong direction, because our sole job when we decide to become therapists, well, there are many. Some people come into the industry because it was a job opportunity, someone willing to train them, and they come into the industry and to them it's just money making. But some of us are in it because we are passionate about it, passionate about the opportunities that it can really grab us or offer to us, and also help us to really have great impact on human beings. And I think if I have one thing I want to really focus on is the great impact that we can have on human beings. Touch is such a beautiful thing, and if you really can engage it and really understand what touch is, then you will see that we will be able to, we can heal soul. We could touch soul. So me saying all of that, let's get down to why I'm here today. Training. I decided we need to go back to basics. And why I say basic, we have to get back to the basic concept of what we do. And today I will look at basic Swedish techniques. I still have the fundamental view that Swedish, when it comes to the European concept of massage therapy or the Western concept of massage therapy, is really everything is based on the Swedish techniques. And when you understand the Swedish techniques, then you can build on it, and you can build and build and build and build, and you can go wherever you want to go with it. The Swedish concept have 4 basic techniques. Is efferage, petrissage, tapotment, and frictions. If we understand those 4 basic techniques, then lots of our jobs, most of us will be able to make the adjustment that we need to make when we are doing massage. If we really dive into the efferage concept, and a lot of people say efferage and we don't really know what it is. What it's for is just an efferage because it's your first technique that you start with. It's a very soothing technique, but also remember efferage not only soothing, is a stroke in massage. Anything that strokes the body is an efferage concept. So if you want to really take efferage and start breaking it down, efferage is really, and that's what we need to understand why these techniques and what they're used for. Efferage is really a breaking down techniques. Efferage is actually a flushing technique. My apology. Usually that because it's a flowing technique. So if you really structure your massage and you look at your massages and how you do your massage, there are many difference that you want to do. So efferage is really a flushing technique. Petrissage is really a breaking down techniques. Tapotment is really is like a shock to the body. So it really give or take it away, basically, because you are trying to stimulate muscles or tissue with tapotment. Frictions is really about creating, if you know what friction is, creating. When you create frictions, you will create movements, you will create lots of different things, breakdowns, all of those things you can have within friction. So if you want to categorize them, you will put the efferage and the tapotment in one category, and you will put petrissage and friction in the other category. So if you can categorize the techniques and you understand these techniques, so your massage will become a whole lot more simple when you're doing it. So if we want to go back to the efferage concept, and we talk so much about so many times, or when I'm training or when I'm teaching persons, I always see students coming out and they say, okay, we start with efferage. But the efferage and they just see efferage as the soft, gentle motion that they're doing. But efferage can be so many different things when you're thinking about efferage. Efferage can be using your fist, your wrists, or your forearm. Sorry, when you're doing a stroke. So like now I'm seeing lots of people is moving away from their hand, because we are not doing a lot of hand techniques. I realize that a lot of us not doing a lot of hand techniques anymore, because yes, we are trying to save our hands, so we are taking the pressure off of our hands. So I see people jumping in right into from they start a massage with all their forearm and they start working. So the hand is being removed in some sense from massage therapy, and I think that's a total error, because if you understand what we are doing, the hands is the most sensitive part of our body. Our hands in massage therapy is like our eyes. So if you want to understand, I keep saying that we are like detectives. We are body detectives. So when someone comes to us and we want to help, we have to we want to learn about the body. So this is what helps you to learn about your body. We can ask questions, yeah. People tell you things that they think they know, but unless you start touching the body, is nothing. So when you jump in and you start using your elbow, yes, these are efferage techniques that you're using, whether you go deep or whether you go light. Anything that is moving, that is flowing, is efferage technique. And basically efferage is really flushing. So if someone come to you and they have a problem, most people stress, let's say number one reason why people come and have a massage, because they're stressed out. And you just start and you're using the movement and you're using efferage technique, whether you're using your open hands or whether you're using your fist, whatever part of the body you're using. As long as the flowing technique, as long as the stroking technique is an efferage technique, and you're using that without understanding. So you start with the efferage, whether you start strong or whether you start light, and you're trying to move. But if you are not using, if the technique, if someone have, let's say someone have a crystal or nut, or what we might call tight muscles, we can get into what causes muscle build-up another time. Today we are speaking about the basic techniques. And you just doing it, then you need to have a good idea what you're feeling. If you can feel the body, you must be able to feel the body, and by feeling the body you will know what you want to do. So efferage, and when you consider what you understand what efferage is, and I want us to go and research and understand what is an efferage and when and how we're going to use. So when I'm doing my training and I talk about the tools in our toolbox, before I get to the tools in your toolbox, I want you to understand your techniques, understand what you're doing, understand the reason of the techniques. And if you can understand the reason of the techniques, then all the tools in your toolbox, you will be able to use them when, where, you will know when, where, and how. But if you don't understand the fundamentals of the basic efferage, why do I use the efferage? Is because my instructor said to me, when I start a massage, I do efferage. When I'm finishing a massage, I do an efferage. But it's more than that. Efferage is like your mortar. It's like your glue. It's like your connection to your techniques, to all the other techniques. Because when you whatever you do, you have to connect it. So efferage to me is one of the more critical techniques. That's why, to me, that's why they teach you efferage first, or the first technique you learn is efferage technique, because it's like a connection. Remember massage, another thing I see a lot of people do, their massage is like you start, you stop, you start, you go on, you start massaging, then you move, you go on and do something, then you start a massage again. That's not massage. A massage is like a river. It's it must continue to flow. If you ever see a river that has breakage in it, then it's pond, so it's no longer a river, it's pond. So a massage is like a river. It have to flow continuously. So your efferage is like your glue to whatever you might think that you're running out of oil and you're trying to get more oil to your body. So what you do a little efferage or soothing technique while you grab your oil bottle, and then you start again. So these are things that we have to think about. What are the connection of when and where and how we use technique? If we want to move on to Petrissage is really a breaking down technique. So everything that is needed, most of us see kneading only as when we are kneading with our hands. Kneading is anytime you actually are twisting or trying to move muscles. That's what kneading is. You can knead with your both hands, which is that technique. You can knead with your knuckles. You can knead with your fists. You could knead. This is a kneading technique. This technique here is actually a kneading technique, because what you're doing, you're moving the muscle tissue. That's what kneading is all about. You are actually trying to break down whatever you'll find here. So that's kneading. This is kneading. Anything that you're breaking down a techniques or trying to break down a technique is basically a kneading technique. So when you're kneading, Petrissage, when you're doing Petrissage, whether not kneading, Petrissage, whether kneading, all of that comes on the Petrissage. Your thumb motion, everything that comes come under Petrissage. So breaking down technique. So Petrissage really is a breakdown technique. So if you want to think that we are doing something or we are trying to help an issue, if you have a problem, let's say that we have a blockage in our sink, and you're trying to get it out. If you're using that, what is called that plunger, plunging it, and not finding no way of flushing it, so you're breaking it down, you're leaving it there, eventually it will build right back up. That's not how the body works, but maybe that's a poor example, but that's not how the body works. Because once you break it down with time, the body will help to flush it out of the system. But because you're trying to help the body, you must flush it out of the system. So you basically are breaking down. So any Petrosarge techniques that you're using, basically what you're doing, you're breaking down techniques. So more you break down, you have to find, then you go back to your Efforage technique. Whether you're using your fists, whether you're using your forearm, whether you're using your elbow, anything that you're moving flowing technique, you basically are flushing out of the technique. So basically, if you want to say we understand, and we can, this is like an entire day of teaching class. What you're talking about. So if you want to think about it, you break down, you flush. So you start with soothing, whatever, or you start with your Efforage techniques. You get to your Petrosarge, then you go back to your Efforage. So it's keep connecting. And if you understand how massage works, it will start going in loops like that. And you have continuous motion. You go from your Petrosarge, you go from your Efforage, Petrosarge, to Portman, friction, and then so you go Efforage, Petrosarge, Efforage, to Portman, Efforage, friction, Efforage. So so everything is going in a circle. So you're basically helping to remove whatever you're doing within the muscle. But if you don't understand what you're doing, and to me, we need to spend more time in terms of, instead of thinking about techniques, you go to a class and they teach you what I call a structure or a routine. And we study our routine. It's like when I was doing martial art, we do katas. And you have people that will do great katas. Katas look great. But do you understand what the movement in the kata is doing? Do you know that you're actually fighting? I used to say you're fighting an opponent. So if you don't go into katas and then someone attacks you and you don't understand what the katas are for, then same thing with massage therapy. If you're just doing sequences and you don't understand the movement in sequences, what are they, what you're doing, what is the impact on the movement itself, then basically you're just doing sequence. So you are basically lost. So all of what I'm trying to say to you, it might go over your head, but what I'm trying to do here, and I'm really trying to help in some way, because someday I will move on, and basically all this in my head will it just die with me, and that's not what life should be all about. It should be a continuation. So more knowledge we obtain, we share it, and that's what I'm trying to do here, share knowledge. So think about it, and let's really think about what we are doing. So if you're doing a massage, or when you start doing a massage, think about it. Look at your routine, and look in your routine and trying to figure out what are the different techniques that you're using, and why are you using these techniques. And if you really study that our routine, and then you will realize what are the techniques you're using for this technique, what are the techniques that you're using for that thing. And then you start developing, and you can see yourself actually, when you start thinking about it, you might start seeing yourself growing. And this is my objective, or objection right now. Objective is to help us grow. I don't think I know it all, because I always say to people, I learn from anyone. Every person that comes to my room that practice therapy, I always want to learn from them, because I always believe you can learn from anyone. Up to when I watch some of the show, I learned new things. I learned new things because I believe that every moment is a teachable moment if you are open up to observe it. So I'm not saying I have it all. All I'm saying, I'm just sharing what my 25 years of practice have taught me, and what I have gathered over the last 25 years, and I'm trying to pass it on to you. So if we want to move on to the concept of Topotman. We hear about it. And if you really think about it, and I really like to sit down in the classroom. I like to sit down in the classroom and have these discussions with person. Because sometimes when when someone when you ask a question, why do you use these things? And the answers that come back to you like, for real? How long you were practicing it? And this is what you think? But that's what they told us. Are you gonna take your time to go and research, to put me, whatever you're using? Hawking, cupping, slapping, chopping, whatever you're using, the techniques must be in control. It's not just, I'm gonna slap you to death. And what you're doing, you're just slapping the person. Slapping have to be precise. Cupping have to be precise. Pummeling must be precise. And when I say precise, you want to make sure what you're doing. It's like how to explain it? It's like if you ever watch a kung fu movie, the old time kung fu movie, when someone punch and then you look like the person stops here, but the wind continue and out that flame. It's the same concept when you're doing these techniques. Because, and then it's what you're trying to achieve when you do these techniques. If you want to really shock the muscles, you can go deeper. The hand, you can allow the hand to flow a little bit more. But your hand cannot be stiff. Stiffer the hand is more that the blow is going direct to the muscles. So you can go right to the muscle, to the bone, and it don't come back. Because when you do it, it must come back to you. The whole idea is like you want it to come back. So the control in your hand, the wrist must be free, the hand must be free, slapping, the cup must almost be perfect when you're cupping, because it's air, you actually pushing air, and cupping is really, and you use it in a particular area. You don't just use cupping because you learn it and you're using it. What area you're using it, the precise area that you're using it for. What are you using it for? What are you trying to achieve from those techniques? So all of these things is what we have to think about. So cupping is really, to me, is really a shocking within the muscle. So what you're doing is like someone that, maybe a sports person, tired, aching muscle. You work them up and you're trying to, or they're trying to get going, so you want to really wake up those muscles. So when you shock, it's like you're sending a shock to the body, and the brain will say something is happening, and blood flow gonna rush through that area. Blood flow you get, so you will get good cleansing, good oxygen, all of those things will rush, because basically you are actually, is basically what is saying, you're shocking the muscle. If you're doing it and the skin, same thing, because you're trying to, that's why when you do facial, now when you do facial and people use that slapping technique on the face, basically they're trying to bring blood to the surface of the skin so you can have that plump, flush look on the skin. So basically those are what, so what you're trying to do is to create what we call trauma within the system, and it will help by creating trauma. These blood will flush to the area, and you have more flushing action, flushing in what you're doing. So when you understand these things, then we can work at these things, and we can really develop these things. And the frictions, and basically frictions is what it says. It's really creating a friction. You can use, and it's really like a vibration motion where you have to understand muscles are elastic fibers. I always said it's like small little tiny bands, and there are millions of them. They come together and they form different muscle groups. What happens sometimes is like waste matters goes between the muscle group, and it can actually start joining the muscles together. When you use frictions, what you're trying to do is helping to shake out those built-in muscles, or built up within those muscle group, and you're trying to break them down, because sometimes you can't get at it because it's so tight you can't. So you're creating a friction, meaning that you're taking muscles, you're taking them away from each other. So by that, you can help to break down some of those muscles. So you see when I talked with the category in the beginning, breaking down, flushing. So you understand what I'm saying. So when you're creating, so whatever friction technique that you're using, there are several friction techniques. We might more common with these vibration, motion. Some rolling is also friction. You're bringing blood to the surface of the skin. So all of these things that you can do. Aeroplane, stroke is friction. So it's so many different things that you can use if we want when we're thinking friction. So if you actually was listening to me, I'm not sure if anyone is online listening to me, but with technology, the good thing about technology, you can always listen to it at another time, because it's always going to be on our Facebook page, it's all going to be on our YouTube page, and you can go and you can find us, YouTube Steve Andrews and Associate, YouTube and Steve Andrews, and you will find us. So if you're not here, or sometime you will find us. That's the whole concept of what we are doing. So if you can link them all together, and you basically linking these techniques together, that's how you create a really good concept or a really good flow of what we are doing. And if we can develop those things, then we can pull them together, and we can start bringing them together. You can see that your whole massage concept is developing. So these are just little concepts. I'm just touching the what they say, the iceberg, or the top of the concept, the top of what I'm trying to say. Is really how we can really dig into it and really start coming up with solution. How we can sit down, and I like when we sit down around a table or around our beds and have conversation. That's why I really start this community, because I want us to come together, and I don't want to see Steve as I never would like to be on top of a hill. I like to be with people, learn from people. So where we can come together and really learn from each other, where we can really have discussion on techniques, where we can take our therapy to the next level. Therapy is awesome, guys. In my 25 years, the things that I see blow my mind day after day. If you understand what we are doing, and you can really start put it in practice, it's an awesome experience. And if you think it's awesome to you, imagine what it's doing to your clients. And that's why we are here. We are here to serve. From the time you take it up, the whole idea is that you have to serve people. I always say to people, I went and do massage therapy because I thought that if we do massage, that people will, I love to be pampered, I like to be pampered. But if I go and do massage therapy, then I will get a lot of people to pamper me because I pamper people. And I was into a rude awakening. Now, anytime I'm around people, everybody wants me to pamper them. And unfortunately, I see it's my calling, and that's what we do, and that's why we're here. So let's come together, let's talk about it. Let's have more discussion on different concepts, different ideas, and we can really grow this concept. We can grow therapy. As I said, I used to compete. I love to compete. Competition was, I used to love competition. I used to train for competition. But then you grow and you realize that is that all. When you compete, you keep things in yourself. When you come together and share ideas, or you come together, you're free with your ideas, because I don't have competition. No one competes. No one is my competitor. I share with everyone, because therapy is a universal thing, and it don't come from here. Anything in here is fraudy. It can be corrupt. Anything in your head it can be corrupt. You have to move it to your heart, my friends. So when you move therapy to your heart, you realize that it's a love, that a selfless concept, and you want to share it. You want to continue constantly developing it, and that's what we are trying to do here. How can we work together to help to develop what we're doing? And I'm really hoping. I'm not hoping. I'm knowing. I know that one day we all will meet. We'll sit down around tables. around areas, around spas, around areas, different areas, and really discuss the concept of therapy. Whether it's massage therapy, whether it's skincare, whether it's beauty therapy, whether it's spas and development, I mean, whatever it is, we can have discussion. So, come to the end of another day of me just sharing a little knowledge. I hope one person get to hear this, because I know if you get to hear this, it will change your mind a little bit. So if one person get to hear it, I will be a happy person. But you can share it. Just share it with friends, share it with others, and see. I'm not looking to have 1 million likes and work for YouTube or Facebook. That's not my objective. I'm not here to work for anyone. I'm just here to share information, share knowledge. So if you share with other person, it's not because, I'm not telling you share it because I want to work for YouTube or Instagram. I really here to share knowledge with you. And by sharing knowledge, we can come together, we can work with each other, and we can develop this industry together. Again, from Steve Andrews and Associate, Student Touch at the Bamboo Retreat. Thank you, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you. I will try to play my piano again.